let's look at some of my worst paintings ever. What up friends, Liron here, thank you for joining me in another video. Today I thought I'd do something fun here and just show you some of my worst paintings. Now, I'm gonna give you a few disclaimers here. These are relatively old, most of them, at least more than 6 or 7 months ago. I had to go really back to find a lot of classic beginner mistakes. Now, again, disclaimer number one. Number two, some of these may be quite okay, and some of you may see them and say, oh, I wish I could do that. Okay, so don't judge me on the specific selection I chose here. Some of you may say, wow, this is ridiculous, how do you even dare showing it? So it moves in both directions. Okay, some of these may be considered, I don't know, really bad. It's all subjective. So, you know, just take that as I've went through some of them and found ones that have some really bold mistakes that I think will be beneficial for you to learn from. Okay, so this is my main goal here with this video, is to point out some of the classical mistakes that really show, and some of them you may not be that aware of, some of you. So this is my goal with this, and with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so let's get started here. I'm gonna make this relatively quick. We're not gonna analyze deeply each and every painting. I just want to point out a few things. And I really want you to take this to a practical direction. I'm not just bashing on my work. I actually want you to be able to make some practical advice from it, okay? So the first thing that strikes me with this one is how, first of all, it doesn't read well enough, because in the original image you had this tower and this grassy patch, and it was all really tall, and all this village was in the background. Now, it just doesn't come through in this. It's really hard to understand what's going on. It's kind of clear that this is in the background just because of the size, but the values, the way it looks, just doesn't match it. The edges, it just doesn't match it as well. This was done, I think, on a rough paper, and so maybe I wasn't used to it yet, and you can see that the painting itself, like the brush control, isn't so good. But anyway, the first thing I would say is definitely this. It just doesn't communicate that well enough. The values are also quite similar, which is a part of why it doesn't communicate it well enough, because what you have here is basically this. All of the greens are the same value, then you have some very dark ones as well here, so it just doesn't push it to the background. This is basically the only thing that's pushed to the background, this layer of mountains that turned out well. In fact, if I crop this like that, it will actually look good, like a good painting. So yeah. Another thing I would say is the foliage looks a bit too overworked. You can see all of these weird squiggles here, and also in the background as well, just too much going on. This definitely has to do with the paper's texture, with just me not knowing exactly how to approach this. And this is something that happens to me to this day. I sometimes end up overworking foliage and trees, things like this. And so yeah, it still happens from time to time. It is quite challenging, so I can definitely see how I was struggling here. One other thing that I would say about this one that really bugs me, and I don't know if all of you would have thought about it, is the greens. They're way too even. There's no variety whatsoever. It's just maybe 2 different greens. Altogether, I had a very limited palette, and maybe not so cleverly constructed back then, so it has to do with that as well. But it's just big plane of green that has no variation on it. There's just a bit of yellow maybe. It just doesn't work that well. Also here in the foreground there's just some yellow lines. Okay, so this is about that one. I'm gonna try to make it again quick, otherwise it's gonna be a really long video. This one. So I actually like it in some senses. It's very warm. I like the feeling that it gives you. The one thing that's lacking here again is depth. It doesn't convey the feeling of depth, because these greens are really saturated. The sky is also really strongly saturated. I like the perspective on the fields. This one turned pretty nice. But definitely there's a problem here with the near the horizon. It just doesn't feel like it's that far in the distance. And again, as I said, some of these are like, okay, it's not terrible. I'm just giving out the things that I can see now with fresh eyes, especially. I didn't really go over them. I'm doing this on the fly. One other thing that I would change is the edges. So you can see everything is very hard edges, and near the horizon, it kind of hurts the feeling of things fading away. Okay, so this is one thing I may change if I would have done it again. The sudden break is actually because it's a hill and it's going back under like that, so you don't see too far into the distance, which is one of this painting's redeeming qualities, because it's actually not that in the distance, but still the depth could have been conveyed a little better. Let's see, this one. Oh, this is interesting. This is one painting that I was really confident in the drawing. I really took time to draw it properly. But I just couldn't get the effect I wanted with the shadows on the building, which frustrated me a bit. Also, you see this fence here, this sort of a rocky structure. The reason why it looks so odd is because the foliage around it should be so much darker. Okay, so that's one thing that I would immediately change with this one. When something pops out that shouldn't, usually it means that the surrounding should probably be darker and swallow it a little more. So this is a good example of that. What turned out really well here actually is the sky. You can see there's nice lost and found edges. I have no idea how I got this effect. I think I used this. I think I actually sprayed some water on it to make it move like that. Yeah. So again, not a disaster, but just so many things that aren't going right here. Yeah. So this one, well, to be frank, I didn't really try my best. I don't even remember what the reference was. It was like this weird castle. I don't know, it's just not clear enough. I think I gave up on this one. And it just goes to show you, when you give up, you just lose. You lose 100% of the shots you don't take. And so now what I did learn is, even if I'm frustrated, I'm moving on with the painting, still trying to pull it together. Okay, this one. I just don't know. It's unfinished, that's for sure, because there's a lot of darks that it didn't add. I just feel like the colors didn't work and I just stopped. I had a lot of things going back then that I didn't know how to control the wash. You see, the sky turned out really well. Again, I had a good time with the skies in that period. These two were done pretty closely to one another, I think, and you can see this in the sky. So I used a bit French ultramarine, then some magenta, and got it, or burnt sienna, something. The thing is that, again, too much green that has no difference in it, and this is really obvious in this one. Like, this should be a little bluer, a little lighter, and the more it gets closer, the warmer it gets. Okay, so just not good use of conveying distance. This is a repeating theme in these old paintings. The feeling of depth isn't there. Okay, and also just, I don't know, I just didn't feel the colors did the good job, and I just gave up on that one as well. Mistake, shouldn't give up on paintings. Okay, this one is, I think, even older than the other ones. This is my first moleskin I ever had. I won't bash on it too much because it's just, I didn't know what I was doing back then. This was maybe around 10 months ago, or almost a year now. You can see the sky is very uneven, many streaks. The moleskin requires some different abilities, and I just didn't have them back then. Not enough value variation, so the darks aren't really that dark, except for these windows maybe, and I just gave up on it in the middle. Yeah, that's the sad truth, and it's just, I gave up on many paintings back then. But anyway, yeah, I really had a good vision of what I wanted to do with this one, and I just wasn't able to pull it off, so too bad. But it's old. It was about 3 months into watercolor, maybe, something like this. So I'm really, what can you expect? So I have some others here. This one is just a bit sad for me. It's just green and sepia, and it's not that interesting, I think. I later on compared it to a painting I did on location, and it hit me what huge difference there is when you're out there and you see all the color variation, because all the greens have other colors in them, and you just don't see those colors when you're working from image reference sometimes, especially if the reference is a bit dark or sad. Okay, let me zoom in a bit so you can better see. Okay, so hopefully that's a bit better. So this is it about this one. This one, not really my fault. I was using the My Artscape paints, the ones that I reviewed and I didn't like at all, and they weren't that good. And so just the color mixes are a bit dead. I wasn't too familiar with how they mix, what to mix. And you can see this wash bled all into the grass here. Just a lot of kind of rookie mistakes, I guess. This one, this is interesting. The funny thing is, you actually sometimes the painting helps you remember the day you painted it, and you remember a lot of things. I even remember like the video I was listening to in the background. So just a small side note. But anyway, this one, I don't know. It's just too messy. I tried getting this fog effect here, and I just didn't know how to do it. Couldn't use wet and wet properly. I do like the color selection. It's a bit weird, but I still like it. I think I chose the right colors, just didn't know how to use them properly, especially in terms of the color wetness or the wetness on the page, things like this. Okay, this one is just nothing, you know. There should have been a lot of variation and value on this hill. It should move away from us, but I just couldn't get it. I left some highlights using the rough texture and tried to put in some flowers, but it's just a bit sad, I think. Yeah. So this one, I don't remember. I think I did this one with My Artscape also, because the way that this paint looks, but I'm not sure. Anyway, you can see here a bit improvement in the depth. So it does seem like this is more in the distance, things like this. I just think there isn't a good enough separation between the sky and the sea. You could argue that it's just because it's foggy or something like this. I don't feel like there's any really good point of focus here. So you can see I did this mistake also in the background, but you can see how the quality of mistakes improves with time. So now it's not necessarily the wash is terrible, but it's more, or the depth is terrible, but just maybe the composition isn't so good, maybe some other things. The stroke technique here isn't so good. I try to leave some whites like foam because the waves crash into this mountainside or cliffside. Just couldn't really get the effect I wanted. Overall an improvement, but you know, still not so good with the color selection as well. Oh, this one. I don't know, some people really liked this one for some reason. For me, I just couldn't get it to work. You see the blue here, too blue and boring. The blue of the sea bled into the sky, didn't let it enough time to dry. All the greens here, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. There is variation here, but it's blue and burnt sienna, green, sorry, and burnt sienna. It just doesn't look good. I actually wrote here shit, so sorry about that. I remember when I did this and I was like, oh, it doesn't work the way I want. So yeah. So it's I don't know, some people liked it, I didn't really, you know. Just the one thing that I think does work here, there is a lot of value variation, there is darks, so that's an improvement, okay. This one, oh, this is sad. The one thing that works here, and I have to compliment myself for this one, so basically I was using the Hanemule paper for the first time. I wasn't sure how to work with it, but it doesn't have to do that much with that. Just I wasn't really good at color selection back then, so you see the greens are a bit boring. The tree is a bit overworked, the roof doesn't look so good. The one thing that I have to compliment myself is this puddle here. That really looks like a reflection of this house. There's this puddle in the mud. I did a good job with that one, that's for sure. Oh, this one. Yeah, I remember it. Reminds me of Beat when I see this. Just three things that really annoy me here. Way too much granulation on the roof, just because of a weird color mix that I shouldn't have chosen together. This red, I don't know what I was thinking about. And the green is boring and it just doesn't work. The trees in the background, all of this sort of wet and wet blend, it doesn't look that good, but at least I got the effect of it being in the background, so that's one thing that I can say that's positive about this one. But just this beet red is, I don't like it. And lastly, this one, again from my first Moleskine. Funny enough, the values are okay, but and it's just a small sketch because you know when you work on a Moleskine, you just gotta get it in one go. But a few things, just green. The green, you can see again and again how important it is to vary them. Otherwise, it ends up looking like this. So this is definitely something I would think about. And another thing is the water is a little overworked. I don't know. It's just there's rough edges there, and there shouldn't be. It does convey that there's a shadow, or rather a reflection here. This is in the distance, so the values are okay. The depth is okay. By the way, when I made this, I was sure it's much more terrible, and then when I saw it after a while, it started looking a little better. Like I didn't mess up completely. But the greens, if you don't vary them, this is what you're gonna get. And so this is one important thing to pay attention to. So anyway, this is it. These are all of my worst paintings that I wanted to show you. Some of them are a little better than the others. Some of them are really bad. I think it really goes to show that it just takes time. You know, this is my message here. It just takes time, and I talked about it in a comment actually in one of the videos that I replied. It's sometimes so tricky because you don't feel like you see the improvement, but it's just your mind is fooling you because there is an improvement. It's just so slow and so incremental that you don't notice it, and then when you go back a few months and take a look at your work from back then, you suddenly realize without like noticing that you did improve. Okay, so if any of you are really struggling, you can see this is definitely not my best work, but it did lead me to producing better work, and yeah, I just feel much more confident. But you have to go through this, and I didn't count, but I did so many paintings by now in this year that it really takes time. I would actually feel like an idiot if I wouldn't have improved, because I did so much, trust me. So anyway, let's change the angle and wrap up this video. Okay friends, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope seeing the way I came can really inspire you to try and achieve the same thing. I will repeat what I said in the end. The whole idea of not noticing your own improvement. This is so common, and I see it in many different things. Also when I used to practice the piano and the guitar and all of that music. You can't feel sometimes the improvement on a day-to-day basis, not even on a month-to-month basis. I think that a time frame of maybe 3 months or 6 months is when you really can notice growth, and you can really tell, okay, I'm not going back to this. Okay, because many times you will have a really good painting, and then the day after you're like, oh, I'm making the same rookie mistakes I did a few days ago. Because it moves really like that, it's very volatile. But with time, it goes only up and up and up with correct practice. And so, yeah, you can't tell your improvement on a day-to-day basis, but you can definitely tell it if you're looking at a time frame of several months, a year. And this is the way I try to measure it. Am I better than I was 6 months ago? Okay, so give yourself time. Don't be discouraged if you don't feel like you see the improvement. It's totally fine. This is how it works. The mind fools us to not see the improvement fast, but it happens. It happens below the surface. And I mentioned this in a comment also, that I said that sometimes I finish a painting and I really nail it. It's exactly the way I imagined it and the way I wanted it to be. And I look at the painting and I'm thinking to myself, gee, I didn't learn anything. I did not learn anything from this painting. It just didn't teach me anything because everything worked. I didn't mess up. So when you mess up, you learn. Like sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. That's the old saying. But it's not 100% accurate. Sometimes from your wins and from your successes, you can learn a lot as well. But definitely from the failures, I learned so much, because you can see everything that goes messed up, and then you know, next time I'm gonna pay more attention to this specific aspect. Next time I'm gonna pay more attention to a particular part of the painting. Okay, so yeah, there's that. And this is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, follow me on Snapchat and Instagram, and I will see you again in another video tomorrow.